20 800-859-3220 or biglou.com.
TV stations believe that you want to hear about the weather and traffic for multiple hours a day. If only we had an app for that. Well, it's a good thing that 1410 ESPN Radio knows what you really want. Live and local sports talk. Don't miss Dayton's top local sports talk show with Kidder and Kev. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Happy New Year. It's the Kinner and Kev show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. I'm Justin Kinner alongside Kev Nash. We had to reintroduce ourselves because it had been a while, but welcome in, everybody. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, no? Happy New Year.
You remembered how to do
Yeah,
that.
man. Yeah, man.
Good stuff. Good
Happy
stuff.
New Year, dude.
It is. I mean, first of all, I'm telling you right now, I hate the week between Christmas and the New Year is the worst because I should be off and I don't. I get all antsy and then I want to talk a bunch of sports. So then what happens is I get backed up and then I take all my frustrations out on people on social media. Now some deserve it, like our guy Shaw, who by the way has just been drooling to get back on the air. By the way,
We'll see how that works today.
yeah, we'll see.
We'll
how
see.
long. But before we get into, and again, there's not a whole lot to talk about sports-wise. I mean, there was that Washington-Texas game, you know. We'll talk some Ohio State basketball maybe. The Reds coming up. The Guardians. Maybe a little kickball.
Little kickball.
Outside of that, nothing really to talk about.
Our beloved Wright State Raiders losing 2 in a row on the road.
The Browns getting into the playoffs. Really not a whole lot to talk about.
Steelers sneaking around there.
Bengals eliminated.
Got my bell back.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes,
We here. How was your holiday break? I know you were super antsy because you live to argue about sports, but like outside of that, did you do anything cool?
No, I got pretty drunk on New Year's Eve. That's about it. And I'm realizing as I get older, like as fun as it is, it's just not cool the next day. I can't hang.
I can't hang no more.
I cannot hang.
Being off for 2 weeks was, I'm not sure if the bosses are listening, but like it was glorious.
Well, they're off all the time too. So, I mean, you know,
it was glorious, man. I tell you. So we went home for the holiday, Christmas, and we came back Christmas night. And the last basically week and a half, lots of chilling at the house, lots of drinking, eating, midday afternoon naps, whole bunch of TV watching, whole bunch of movie watching. I believe it's called a staycation, and I had a great staycation.
Yeah, we didn't do a whole. I mean, obviously everything's blended into one another. I mean, like I don't even remember the last time we were on the air, but I do know we were previewing Ohio State had not got embarrassed yet.
Yeah,
the bowl games. You know, we weren't even to the heart of the bowl games yet and all that stuff. But yeah, that's about it. It was a very boring Christmas for me. But New Year's resolutions. Are you a New Year's resolution type of guy?
I'm not because I think that you talk a good game, and then by February, March, you're back into your same old. I used to be that type of person. Like, oh, this year I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to read 10 books this year. And turns out like I read like 2 and stuff like that. But the one thing that I'm going to do this year is my goal is to watch 52 new movies this year. There's obviously 52 weeks in a year. That's 1 movie a week. Because I found myself, even during the staycation, watching things I've already watched before. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I pay for Netflix. I pay for this streaming service. I pay for that streaming service. It has a ton of content on there. Why am I rewatching, I don't know, Breaking Bad for the 90th time, as if I don't know what's going to happen? I'm going to take advantage of all the content that is out there. So my goal is to watch 52 new movies this year. So that's just 1 new movie a week.
I've actually gotten in more of the. We did watch a lot of movies over the week, over the break. I can't remember which ones, but they were movies. I know that. I'm always on my phone. The wife gets mad, but I'm like, hey, you want to sit down and watch a movie? Just put the movie on. We'll talk. I'll laugh every once in a while. We're good to go.
I take it you didn't start watching The Wire.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Perfect opportunity, man.
Now we're supposed to be getting some snow this weekend. That's when at least that's what I was just sent to me a little bit ago.
God.
But so my New Year's resolution is to start paying off bets.
Oh, what place in line am I?
Well, it's funny.
Oh,
So now I can't take all the credit. I had to get a little help from my guy, Packers fan Tim.
Timmy!
So we were at Frickers yesterday, or no, Sunday. See, I don't even know what day it is. The Sunday morning tailgate show.
Oh,
the goal
I
is
hear
start paying up. Yeah. Hooray. Beer. Now it says to Kevin via Justin via Packers fan Tim. It's not completely honest, but I mean, look at that bow. Good job, Packers fan Tim. But yes, to my New Year's resolution. The credit card companies are going to love this. You know, the Rumpke's going to love this, but paying off what I owe people. Here you go. So New Year's resolutions
from last year.
From last year.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know it did. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to save this because I'm scared if I open this right here on air, I might be tempted to drink one. I think that's probably against company policy. Thank you for paying up, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. I was going to gift you those Michigan beers over there, but a lot of very cocky people in this building today.
Dude, they're talking.
I didn't even know that they knew where this side of the building was, to be quite honest with you. But everyone
They are talking.
I got a spray for these Michigan people.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right. So Urban Meyer should be named Michigan's Coach of the Year. Because think about it. Michigan's success is all going back to Urban Meyer leaving. Just like if Harbaugh leaves, Ryan Day is going to all of a sudden, like, think about it. Urban Meyer leaves. Harbaugh dominates the rivalry with Ohio State since then. Harbaugh's about to leave. Ryan Day's about to take back control of that rivalry. Are Michigan fans going to prop up Ryan Day in the next couple of years when he starts winning just because Harbaugh left the way that they prop up Harbaugh? Look, I can have fun with this all day, but the bottom line is I will say this just for credibility purposes. Michigan was the better team Sunday. Wait, what day? No, yesterday. See, again. But I'm here to tell you, all of the "we told you so" stuff is not necessary because you're listening to a sports talk radio show here in the state of Ohio that is an Ohio State Buckeye affiliate that is hosted by two individuals who picked Michigan to win the Big Ten coming into the season. Both hosts of this show both said that they were the best team in the Big Ten coming into the season. Both guys both hosts of the show picked Michigan to make the college football playoffs this year. Nothing that is happening is that surprising as far as I'm concerned. Look, they went toe-to-toe with Alabama. There was a lot of coaching blunders really on both sides. But, I mean, overall, Harbaugh made adjustments that Nick Saban and Alabama did not make. Michigan is in the national championship game. That is not a surprise. Washington with Michael Penix Jr. is in the national championship game. Also not a surprise. Both semifinal matchups. I mean, back-to-back years where the semifinals have just kicked ass. Last year's national championship game was not very entertaining. I think this one will be a lot more entertaining, hopefully. But
hopefully
your overall vibe. I know, weeks ago you were not too fond of watching the college football playoffs. I'm just curious if that found some time on your schedule this week.
Yeah, I talk a good game. I talk a good
it's like
game.
a New Year's resolution.
No, I'm sure we'll talk about the other bowl games later on. But these two games, sitting at home watching a whole bunch of TV shows and movies, I started getting that feeling. I started getting that old thing back from my beloved college football, and to, see the Rose Bowl with that team up north and Alabama, and then have the nightcap with Texas and Washington with Michael Penix Jr., a quarterback that I've basically had a love affair with for years now. Going back to his Indiana days, like, those matchups, got the juices flowing, and, removing obviously my impartial feelings for, Michigan and Ohio State in the rivalry. You're right. They controlled that game, and me and my brother were texting during the game. And even though at some point Alabama had the lead, I still felt like Michigan was in control of the game, and it was playing out kind of like the Ohio State game, even though, Ohio State was still there and could have won it on that last drive. It was, the team up north was controlling the pace of the game. They had it under wraps. And, you talk about some of those coaching situations. I mean, I can't think of a bigger coaching WTF than changing your punt returner at the most important time of the game. I have no idea. Like, look, man, all four of the coaches, Kalen DeBoer from Washington, Sark from Texas, obviously Nick Saban from Bama, Harbaugh from Michigan, all know more about football than I could ever imagine to know. But that right there, changing the punt returner at that juncture. Look, the kid that muffed the punt early in the game that set up Alabama's first touchdown score, you put him back in the game. So obviously you felt comfortable with him, and he returned all the other punts during the game. So you're going to bring a guy off the bench who from my knowledge, hadn't been on the field all day long and have him fair catch or try to return the most important punt of the game. That could have ended disastrously for Michigan if he got rock and rolled and would have fumbled that ball and Bama would have scooped and scored, or just scooped it and kicked the field goal and won the game. I don't think Harbaugh would have ever been able to live that down. I'm not sure how that happened, but ultimately, at the end of the day, Michigan outplayed Alabama all 4 quarters of the game and overtime, and they won, and they're headed to the national championship game versus Washington.
Yeah, no, look, and Alabama had the lead late. And to Michigan's credit, they had to make big plays in the biggest clutch moments of the game because they could have folded right there. About 3 minutes to go. You don't see Alabama. You don't see Nick Saban-led teams have a lead that late in the game. And so you're facing that pressure. You're facing, it's a playoff, a championship on the line, everything you've gone through this season, self-inflicted, of course. I don't feel bad for you, but like, you've come this far. We can't lose like this. Like, you don't want to get blown out, but I mean, I think it'd even be more painful to lose a close one too at the same time because of everything. So, but yeah, they were able to fight through that and get that win. But man, that second game too, and we'll get to that, the Texas-Washington game in just more in a second. But last night's game, here's what I will say. I love Jim Harbaugh. I do. As much as I hate him, I love him. Every time when they were just showing clips of him on the sideline, just the aura of him. Like, I grew up during a time, and so did you, where the coaches were as big as stars as the players. And not just in college football, but college basketball. You would tune in to March Madness to watch Rick Pitino go up against Coach K. You would watch Roy Williams go up against Jim Boeheim. You know what I mean? Like, the coaches were as big as stars in college football and basketball. Same thing with football. You had your Joe Paz, obviously. You had, obviously, your Florida State and Bowden. You had so many, Urban Meyer, wherever, whether it was Florida, whether it was at Ohio State, whether it was Jim Tressel. It didn't matter. The coaches were as big. That doesn't exist as much now. You still have your Nick Saban. You still have your Dabo, who's a character. And there's a lot of characters. I think of all the sports out there, college football has the most characters that are out there. But they're newer, being developed. Lane Kiffin is being, he's kind of taken over the reins of that a little bit. But there's no bigger character than Harbaugh. And the fact that I hate him so much it's a good thing because he gets a reaction out of you. There's not a lot of college basketball coaches anymore that I have a reaction towards. And I miss that. I miss hating Rick Pitino's just constant calm with his arm folded over and his finger to his chin. And it could be his team could be giving up a 10-0 run and he just so stoic on the sideline. I miss that. That exists with Harbaugh. That exists with Saban. Last night, I wish that was the national championship game because it's going to be a hell of a national championship game next Monday. But I just thought that last night's Rose Bowl game had absolutely everything from the mega stars to the jersey combinations, which I was a big fan of that. Just that old school. I'm a big, just that old school feel, just making everything look the same as far as that's concerned. I thought last night checked off so many boxes. My only complaint is that I tuned in for a 3-hour commercial marathon that kept getting interrupted by a football game. And the fact that the second game started so damn late and halftime was at midnight or something, or 11 a.m. or something crazy. That's my only complaint about that. But other than that, last night for a sport that everyone says is broken and there are flaws, don't get me wrong, I was like, man, how many sports could survive being broken and still put on a product like that? Like baseball, when it's broken, it's broken.
Right.
The NBA, not as good as it used to be. It has star power. It's not as strong as it used to be. They're tweaking some things, twerk away. But like at times you feel like this isn't like what it used to be. College football, man, it's good for that. What's also crazy to me is this. The NFL, nothing feels bigger than the NFL. But then you also have another football entity in college football. They're the same, but they're so different, but they're so big and dominant. Football just dominates this country, and last night that was on full display.
Yeah, I mean, the game's delivered. We can argue about who should have been in the playoff, who shouldn't have been in the playoff, yada, yada, yada. I think that's a conversation for a different day or a different time. But, like, the actual matchups, they delivered entertaining football. And for that point, you got, everything, all the scandals that went on with Michigan, them being undefeated, coach being suspended, going up against Nick Saban and big bad Alabama. And then in the other matchup, you have Texas, a team that gets propped up year after year, but, has won national championship since integration. But they constantly get propped up because they're Texas. Of course they should. And then you have Washington, who actually has a championship in I think like 1990. So you have like programs that people are rocking with. And I mean, you got the last year of the Pac-12 and their champion is in the college football playoff. And this team like actually looks like a team that could actually win it. And then you get the games. And that's the most important thing to me. Like, you talk about the coaches, you talk about the bickering of the fans and everything like that. I'm with that too, but I'm more about the game. And when you get exciting games, you get things going down to the wire. That's what you want. I mean, you look at it and you think like, oh man, if Michigan does X, Y, and Z or just a little bit better, they probably win that game comfortably.
Yep.
You look at Washington, when they're up 9 points, instead of going with the trick play, if they probably would have just said, hey, Michael Penix, just throw it to the wide open dude again, they probably win that game by double digits. But, they get the ball back and their running back gets hurt as they run it on the clock. So the clock stops. Then they punt the ball. Then you get running into the kicker or running into the fair catch guy. So that's an additional 15 yards. And then you're looking at the clock like 35 seconds. You're only up 6 points. You could lose this game. And then Texas is throwing passes at the end zone from the 15-yard line where like 2 minutes ago, I'm texting my buddy who's a huge Washington Huskies fan, like, hey, man, good luck in the national championship game. You guys got it. To like, oh, my gosh, you guys are about to lose. Like, this is going to be heartbreaking. Like, this is crazy. So when games deliver like that on the biggest stage, I always say this, man, look, obviously, I'm always going to root for Ohio State. I want Ohio State to be in these games. I want Florida State to be in these games. Just as a college football fan, you want the last games of the regular season or the season in general to be entertaining. Because guess what? Next Monday, probably about 11:30, we won't get college football until September.
Yeah, and so this, and then again, it's the end of an era. That's the last year of the 14 playoff. If this game finishes within a possession, or even two, technically, this would be the first playoff ever in the 4-team era where all three games would come down to the wire. And I think that we could get that this year. Every year there's just that blowout. I mean, teams that you don't expect to get blown out, like when Ohio State got blown out 31-0. Michigan State got shut out by Alabama. Obviously, Cincinnati got blown out. We saw what happened. TCU beat Michigan. Great. Turns around and just gets absolutely pummeled by Georgia.
Clemson blew out Alabama.
Yeah. So you never know what to expect. This could be a blowout. It wouldn't surprise me if, Washington blows out Michigan. I don't think that's going to happen. But everyone out there that just assumes that Michigan's just going to roll over Washington, I don't think that's the case either.
Is that the sentiment on the Twitterverse?
The Twitterverse, yes. But even the national shows today, and again, talk shows are about storylines. Listeners tune in for the storyline. You don't tune in to listen to a radio host play 15 minutes of a press conference. You want to tune in to hear about the storylines, and you want to hear about that, just the talking points of the game. So I say that because all day today it's been about Michigan. What happens if they win? All right, the Harbaugh, this is great. I mean, you would have thought they won the national championship last night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what happens when you finally win your, second bowl game in 8 tries. I mean, it's a big deal.
I will say this. When you win semifinals games like that and in the fashion that they won, you better celebrate like that. That's how Ohio State celebrated when we beat Alabama. So I get it.
I don't have a problem with it.
I get it.
But it's
a
little jab,
Oh, yeah, for sure. I hear, me and our guy Ryan Drake were talking about this whole situation with Michigan and the constant thing going on with Harbaugh in the NFL, or potentially, him leaving and, NCAA sanctions coming down. I still stand firm on you have to win it to make it worth it, because let's be real. If they do, and I say if the NCAA decides in 6 months to strip away the title, then what? Like, it was all for quote unquote nothing. Yeah, you'll have the memories of winning, and technically they can't take it away from you. It happened on the field, but like, you want to make sure they're able to take it from you. You don't want to get to this point and lose to Washington, lose in the championship game, and then they take your 14-1 season away. No, you want them to take your 15-0 national championship season away. You don't want them to take away your season that you beat Alabama and lost in the national championship game. So the pressure on Michigan is cranking up even more and more to bring it home. They have to.
Yeah, because a lot of the players, a lot of the fans, they went in full defense mode last night. And I told you how I haven't done a show in like 2 weeks, so I got backed up. So I've just been in Twitter wars, Facebook wars, all this stuff. So, but I'm glad I feel just so much calmer today, just because I have this mic. I've missed this damn mic. Let me just tell you, as far as that's concerned. But they went defense mode, and I get it. But at the same time, you can't be a narcissistic fan base that has made everything about you. You can't light a house on fire and then brag about putting it out. Like, you just can't do that, and that's what's happening right now. So we'll step away for a few moments, and I guess the question, and let's open up the phone lines, because I'm assuming Shaw's just itching to call in because his ban has been lifted. Has the ban been lifted, by the way?
We'll see how I'm feeling.
We'll see how you're feeling. Okay,
see how I'm feeling.
But nonetheless, so if Michigan wins it all, is there an asterisk next to it? What's the perception of that national championship? What's the perception of them right now? I'm here to tell you, I kind of enjoyed watching them win last night. I wanted Alabama. I was pro Alabama the entire time, but as that game ended, I was like, man, college football needs guys like this, not cheaters. I can't stand the fact that they're a cheating program, but they need characters in the sport. They need guys that can generate a reaction. When you see Harbaugh, you either like him, you either love him, or you hate him. There is no in between. Nick Saban, you either love him or you hate him. There is no in between. You don't want an in between coach. You don't want. And I hate to say this right now because things can change, because it changed for Michigan. You don't want a Ryan Day. The way Ryan Day is perceived right now, he doesn't generate a whole lot of far left or far right reactions. I don't mean politics here. I just mean, like, you see Harbaugh, anger, smile. There's no in between. You see Saban, same thing. Dabo, same thing. You don't want that in-between coach right now, and that's what is good about Michigan having Harbaugh. And I think when Harbaugh leaves, because I do think he is, that's not going to be a good thing for that team up north, no doubt about it. We'll step away for a few moments. How will you perceive a Michigan national championship if they win next Monday? 518-1410. The phone line is open, or you can, of course, go to the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page and leave your opinion in there, and we'll pull your comments into the show. It's the Kinner and Kev Show. Happy New Year. We'll be right back.
It's the Kinner and Kev Show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T.
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you? you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ROCK to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ROCK to 42424. That's ROCK to 42424.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hungry for a great time? Maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits, Submarine House.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
A girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor. An elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Reach out and change their world, and it will change your own. Unbound.org.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Happy New Year. It's Kinner and Kev show. How many years have we been doing this? I guess since 2020, March of was it March?
I think it was March or April of 20.
Not bad. So we're going on year 3?
Yeah, man.
Somehow you stick around. Somehow they've let me stick around. Now, when I say somehow you've stuck around, it's not because we're worried that they'll let you go. I'm surprised you've stuck around. I'm surprised they've let me stick around. It's a tiered little thing there.
Tiered system.
Yeah. We welcome you back again. Happy New Year. It's the Kinner and Kev show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. It's opened up again, just kind of catching up, been off about a week and a half. We're right back at it again, kicking off the new year. Instant reaction to the college football playoffs. Michigan coming out on top over Alabama in an instant classic in the Rose Bowl. Washington and Texas, what appeared to be a very almost boring finish, ended up becoming really exciting. Look, Michael Penix Jr., you talked about him a little bit ago. That kid is not even a kid, that dude, he's 6 years now, in there. But the laser rocket of an arm, dude, like pinpoint, just get it in there. He has an NFL arm now. We talked all the time, in the NBA, the one reason that's a problem, there's a lot of guys are one and done and they go in there as boys, right? Like they're still trying to get their man body developed, right? Like, and all that. The one reason that the NFL is so successful is because they don't have an NBA G League. They don't have their feeder system is a thing that they don't have to spend one dime on, and that's college football. I've never seen two entities complement one each other so perfectly without having any overlap whatsoever.
Right.
Michael Penix Jr., the throws he was making, I'd say there's a good 40 to 50% of NFL quarterbacks right now aren't making those throws from what we saw yesterday. And they weren't just lob passes. Quinn Ewers had some beautiful passes up the sideline that was, kind of was leading that comeback attempt yesterday. But he, as much as I like him, and I would love him back in Columbus, don't get me wrong, there was just something different. Of all the quarterbacks we saw yesterday, there was just something different about Michael Penix Jr. And I know everyone's going to talk about Caleb Williams and all that. You can talk about Drake May. You can talk about Bo Nix. You can talk about all those guys. look out for him. That could be one of those like that Baker Mayfield season where everyone talked about, of course, Josh Rosen. Everyone talked about Josh Allen. Everyone talked about, I know I'm missing an easy one right there. I forgot who was the USC quarterback. Sam Darnold. Baker Mayfield going number one. And then it was Lamar Jackson, of course, the star wide receiver, right? Now, and he's about to win his second MVP. So that could be this, where everyone's talking about Caleb Williams. Everyone can talk about Drake May and talk about Bo Nix. Keep an eye on Penix Jr., because I remember him dicing up Ohio State years ago in an empty shoe during the COVID year. No bands, no cheerleaders, no fans. It was just a surreal game, but nonetheless. So
he this was something we were talking about before we cracked the mics, like, kind of like that nervous energy of getting back on the air for the first time in 2 weeks. And I was like, man, I hope I don't cuss on the air, because, you're on vacation, you're letting it go, letting the language go when you're talking to family and friends and stuff like that. And I told you my best friend, Reggie, he's a Washington Huskies fan, and we're talking about the game at halftime. And I was like, man, he is whipping that. And that's exactly what came in my head when you were talking about Michael Penix Jr. just a second ago. I mean, he's just whipping it. He's just whipping that ball, man. And I have to Google it. Like, does he have like a baseball background? Because his throwing motion is a little awkward. Maybe it's because he's left-handed, but like,
oh crap, he's a third rounder now.
Like, he has that bucket throw. Like, it's right there. Like, the receiver runs the route, they turn around, it's in their hands. Like, that is a unique talent. And to have 3 NFL wide receivers with an NFL quarterback to go with it. I know we're going to do the preview probably all day on Monday show, a week from today or whatever, leading into it. But like, I will say this, Michigan, the best quarterback that they have played, transferred from Ohio State. He's the best quarterback that they've played. Ohio State is the best offense that Michigan has played. This offense that Washington has, this quarterback that they have, these 3 receivers that Washington has, they have not faced anything like this. They could still win, but I'm just saying, think about it. The best quarterback Michigan has faced is now the quarterback at Syracuse.
And that's the one thing, too. I've always said this about Big Ten defenses. At times, I don't put a lot of stock into Big Ten defenses. Now, Michigan's is for real. However, they're for real because, they got dudes out there. But sometimes those dudes haven't faced certain types of offenses or certain types of quarterbacks. Big Ten offenses are not good. They're just not. Like, Ohio State's offense was really, really good this year. But we felt slighted because it wasn't one of those 40-point per game, the Justin Fields, the CJ Stroud type of offense. So we actually had to watch an offense work to move the ball up and down. It wasn't just a couple passes and a touchdown. We had to watch them earn that, right? So the thing is, a lot of times Big Ten defenses their numbers are inflated a little bit because, oh man, they have one of the best passing defenses in the league. Well, who do they play? They haven't played any real passing offenses that are going to challenge them. Oh, well, Big 12 defenses are so bad. Well, they are bad. However, they also are statistically going up against way different offenses than what Big 10 defenses are playing. So when people talk about the idea of the identity of Big 10 versus Big 12 and the SEC and others, I'm not trying to do the SEC's better than the Big 10 narrative, but at the same time, like, the offenses are different in the SEC. The offenses are different in the Big 12. So when the defensive numbers are so dominant for the Big 10 as a collective, some of that's being helped by your opponent because they're not really challenging you through the air and all that type of stuff. Big 10 run defenses are sometimes not always the best. Why? Because they're going up against the run way more than what the run game is being implemented in the Big 12. But you're right. The one thing, too, Ohio State's offensive line was bad. Wasn't the worst against Michigan. It collapsed in the biggest moments of that game, of course. Alabama's offensive line, not the strongest either. To Michigan's credit, they took advantage.
Now, they had their center shook.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. Now, look.
He looked like he was about to return a punt. I mean,
dude, he was bowling instead of playing football. Like, he was rolling those snaps back to Jalen Milroe. Look, Jalen Milroe could never be mistaken for Peyton Manning as a passer. He's like Cam Newton minus the arm. Like, he's like, that's the type of player he is. And that's perfectly fine. And they were a touchdown away and a extra point away from going to double overtime. Who knows what happened? They didn't get blown out. But you're in a situation where your center is, got the lemon booty. And then once Michigan realized he had lemon booty, they just attacked him. They started lining dudes up right over the nose tackle type of stuff. And they were super variable. They were, doing all those twists and stuff like that, really confusing the Alabama offensive line and forcing the weak link to think. So now he's thinking about what guy's coming, what guy's not. He can't do the simple thing like snap the ball. So then, plays are thrown off because Milroe has to scoop the ball up, then look downfield. And then you add that fact that he's not a great passer, his process is speeding up. I mean, you look at that last play of the game, people kind of like, oh man, what is Nick Saban doing? Give him a run pass option. Yeah, I would have preferred like a rollout to all right, man, we can throw it or run it in or anything like that. But if you look at it, if he follows the guard 77, he probably walks into the end zone. Maybe Mikey Stanfield trips him up and stops him or something like that. But if he follows the lead blocker, he does it. But he doesn't because it's a bowling ball. He never stood a chance because the ball rolls to him. He panics and just tries to run straight forward. So that credit definitely goes to Michigan for verifying the weak link. Then the weak link starts to unravel on that offensive line. So, I mean, Michigan, they play great ball because, I mean, you think about it, the very first play of the game is almost an interception. They could have unraveled right there. So credit goes to that team up north for handling their business at the Rose Bowl, overtime game, great game, had my popcorn, and then we got treated to a good nightcap too.
Yeah. So, and again, we're not taking shots here. I'm not in my trolling mood today. I'm in a very good mood.
You did all that over the break.
I could sense the defensiveness of one Mr. Shaw here. Let's see. He goes, Shaw said, so, what's the best defense that Penix has faced, this year? It again,
probably Texas,
and I mean, Oregon's defense, their top 10 defense, as well. And, so they played Oregon twice, and that's the type
whipped
of thing.
them twice.
So, and the thing is, Washington has a top 10 defense as well. And I think that what they do is they get to the quarterback as well. Their defensive line's not as strong as Michigan's, but they could still get to the quarterback. They got to the quarterback against, Quinn Ewers, especially late, which kind of forced him to throw off his back foot a few times, especially late in those comeback attempts. However, Washington, they had to go up and face those, Bo Nix. I mean, look at the quarterbacks that Washington had to play all year. But they're not, I mean, I know Jim Harbaugh says this is the best quarterback in the history of college football. He's not even, I don't even think he's the best quarterback in this playoff right now, to be honest with you. I just think that this defense, Washington is completely underrated in this. Michigan has been the story the entire season.
Right.
It's easy to roll with them. They're undefeated, just like Washington, right? Like they're undefeated. Everything's great with Michigan right now. But I don't think that they have faced an offensive opponent, like you said, that has the explosiveness that Washington has. And you could talk about their defensive numbers, but the best quarterback they faced all season, like you said, was Kyle McCord. And we as Buckeye fans, we helped boo him right out of Columbus, right? So
absolutely.
So there's that. It's good. I think this matchup, it shouldn't just be all Michigan, all the talk about them dominating this matchup, because I think college football has told us in the past, the best quarterback usually comes out on top more times than not. And I think that could be the case coming up in this situation.
It's really about the run game for Michigan next week. Are they going to be able to control it? Are they going to be able to be able to run the ball at 4 and 5 yards a clip? And to be perfectly honest, you probably will be able to do that versus Washington. But is that power run game going to work the entire game? Because I think that Washington is going to be able to score. And I think they're going to be in a situation kind of like they were last year versus TCU, where they're forced to open it up, where they're forced to pass the ball, where they're not going to be able to just, all right, keep on running the ball, because I think that Washington's going to be able to score on them. I know Michigan is going to be able to score on Washington with that run game, but how long can you stick with the run game? I think there's going to be a point where they're going to have to say, all right, man, we got to do some drop back passing here. We're not going to be able to just keep it, I won't say close to the vest, but like, I won't say play it safe, but like kind of like get out of their identity.
Yep.
If Michigan is in a situation where they have to get out of their identity, that's where things could turn for them. So it's really all about the run game.
That's why I was impressed they came back and won.
Yeah.
Like Michigan's a game control type of team where once they jump out on top of you, they could, I mean, they were bragging about not passing the ball in the second half or whatever it was against Penn State. Well, they didn't have to. It was just about control the tempo, control the game, and make them stop you. They couldn't stop them. Washington's going to do a better job against that, in my opinion. But at the same time, we talked about that Ohio State game. the best quarterback they played all year was Kyle McCord. And Kyle McCord, how many guys did he miss? What do you always say?
But naked,
wide open.
He's not going to do that.
Yes.
He's not going to do that.
Those dudes wide open.
He's not. I mean, he's hitting dudes with dudes draped on guys. And I mean, you think about it in this game, and it was great from what Texas did. All right, Ron Meduzine, he's going to be probably like the second wide receiver taken after Marvin Harrison Jr. They doubled him. Like, well, we're not going to let Rome beat us. Well, McMillan beat him. Polk beat him because you can't double everybody. When you got 3, that's a problem. When you got 3, like that's very hard to deal with when you got 3 dudes that are going to be playing on Sundays. And 2 of them probably going to go first round.
Shaw says, so can I call or not?
Nah, we straight.
He did his time, though. Did he? But good behavior. That's the thing. He's been kind of snarky on social media. I don't know if that good behavior thing.
I'll let you decide.
Oh, he can call. Oh, Shaw, yeah. The gates are open, my dude. 518-1410, Mr. Shaw. Give us a call. Anyways. All right. But when we come back, I know we teased it earlier, but the asterisk conversation, how will a Michigan national championship be perceived? We'll talk about that when we come back. I guess Shaw's going to call in. Potentially
buckle up, world.
Even now, Shaw was suspended because he dropped some unfriendly words twice last season.
Ooh.
Now, he does it again. It's a year ban.
Yeah.
Like, in this January. So I'm just saying, he better control himself. That's all I got to say. All right, it's the Kenner and Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
It's the Kenner and Kev Show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-859-3220. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-859-3220, 800-859-3220, or biglou.com.
Is your phone plan messing with your savings plan? Don't get stuck paying for things you don't want. With Verizon, you only pay for what you need. And for a limited time, when you bring your own phones to a Verizon store, you'll get an amazing price on your plan. Plus, you'll save on things you actually love, like the Netflix and Max with Ads bundle. And it's on our award-winning 5G network. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today for an incredible deal. A better plan to save is Verizon. Additional terms and conditions apply.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
By now, you should know Audio Etc. has all the same sales and deals on TVs and projectors as everyone else. But did you know we also have some of the world's best hi-fi? Hi, this is Kirby from Audio Etc. And we do have some of the best home theater high-fidelity gear on the planet. Not only do we have your favorite brands like Clip speakers and SVS subwoofers, but audiophile greats from Bowers & Wilkins, Kef, NAD, Marantz, Cambridge, Mark Levinson, and plenty of vinyl and tube gear. Plus exotics you only see in the magazines. Stop by today and visit Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom and see and audition the best audio and video has to offer. While you're in, check out our huge selection of pre-owned vintage gear. A great way to afford great gear otherwise out of reach, or revisit old classics. Audio Etc. Sound advice you can trust. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc. Papa's crazy cool showroom.
Have you heard? Bath Creations has moved to their new location and showroom at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton. This gives you even more opportunity to see the incredible amenities and craftsmanship Bath Creation offers. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful, modern bathroom that is safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save an additional $500 off your purchase. Visit at 8741 North Kimmel Road in Clayton or online at mybathcreations.com and get a new bath today.
Don't miss out on limited time appliance deals during the closeout event at Lowe's. For a limited time, get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, get an additional 20% off in-store clearance appliances. Hurry, these deals are too good to last long. Shop in-store or online today because Lowe's knows deals. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 12/28/23 through 1/3/24. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for details.
We're from Washington. We love Febrez's new scent. Refresh and energize.
So much we made a song about it.
I can't escape this feeling inside. Refresh and energize. It's a mood, it's a vibe. Breathing for the first time. So free, so alive. Breathe happy for free. Smells like paradise. Breathe happy for free. La 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 la.
Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store.
Have a hot take of your own that you're just dying to get off your chest? Text or call the ESPN Dayton hotline at 937-518-1410. That's how you can be a part of our local shows throughout the week, like the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays at 3 p.m., and the Keith Byers Show, Mondays at noon. Call or text the shows at 937-518-1410.
Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome back. Kinner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio, Dayton's radio home, the Ohio State Buckeyes, Dayton's radio home of the Wright State Raiders, Dayton's radio home of the Cincinnati Reds, Dayton's radio home of ESPN Radio, and Dayton's radio home of the Kinner and Kev Show. We welcome you back again. Hope everyone had a great holiday break. A lot of people, I think Ann Anderson, shout out to Ann, by the way. She said Happy New Year to open up the show, but she was like, you guys are off again? I was like, Ann, it's the last week. It's the end of the year. This is actually a traditional time that a lot of hosts take off. And I said, plus, I go, we'll be back today. And I said, then our PTO starts over. So, we won't be taking off again until June, probably. We've got to let that accrue a little bit. So,
I know a guy in Vegas that I might be going to see.
That's fine. I mean, they do the IOUs around here. So
Yeah. When do you put in, like, your PTO?
Usually the week when I get back. Sue hates that.
Oh, yeah, I was out last week. Sorry.
Sue hates that. When we get those company-wide emails, that just a reminder, you need to submit your PTO before you take off. And I love Sue to death, but when those are very passive-aggressive emails, because those are not directed at anyone else in this building. I know they're about me, so. But.
I think this is the issue and why people think I'm the model employee versus you, because, like, I put in all my PTO yesterday. Got up, went to the gym. New year, new me. See how long that lasts. Got home, had some breakfast, and I was like, oh, yeah, let me put in my PTO. So I put in all my vacation days, for my birthday, for Mother's Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, a couple times for the anniversary, just.
Well, I like our listeners, so I'm going to be here every day, Monday through Friday.
I love our listeners, but I got PTO, and I'm going to use it.
Don't blame you. I do not blame you. But let's see. Jacob Fightmaster says, "Come on, Kinner, put your PTO in correctly. Come on, man. Hey, I don't need this.
Yeah, might be related to Sue.
I don't have to take. Yeah, in fact, that might be Sue's burner account. I'm not 100% sure. He's a Seattle fan. Who's a Seattle fan in Dayton, Ohio? I mean, this has to be a burner account, right? No,
Seahawks fan, eh?
Yeah. Jacob's good. He's called him before. He got a little snippy with me about Michigan. I put him in his place, though. Hey, he still tunes in. That's all that matters.
What was his thoughts about the cheaters in blue?
Let's talk about those cheaters in blue, shall we?
Let's do it.
So, anyways, this is the big conversation all day across most of the sports talk shows, whether it be TV, radio, local, or national. The vibe of when Michigan, and there's a good chance they're hoisting up that national championship trophy in the Big Ten title game next weekend, right? Or next Monday night. There's a good chance that that's going to happen. I still like Washington in this for all the reasons we just talked about, but it's, whatever. It is what it is. So there's a good chance that that's going to be the case. What is going to be the perception? Because the thing is, there is a sea of maize and blue on social media that will prop them up and that'll give them their roses and all that type of stuff. And you know what? I don't blame them. If the roles were reversed, I don't think you and I would be that. We wouldn't be those annoying Michigan fans. Like, we wouldn't be that for Ohio State, but we'd probably be a little bit more. We would compartmentalize a little more if it's our team.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you aren't like most fans that, like, I remember during that Zach Smith thing, Urban could do no wrong. Right? Like, it reminded me of everything that came out about Bobby Knight during that stretch. Remember when the entire university basically just stormed, not the Capitol building. They stormed, one of the buildings there, in Indiana, whatever. So, but the bottom line is this, like, sports has a cult-like following, and it brings out the worst in people. And I believe this has brought out the worst in Michigan fans. It's also brought out the worst in Buckeye fans who hate Michigan because of the rivalry, the animosity because Michigan's won 3 straight. There's a lot of things. I'm going to say this right now. How I will feel if they win that, I'm here to tell you right now, the cheating scandal is not why they were good. The cheating scandal is not why they are a good program. The cheating scandal did give them a upper hand in some of these matchups for a good 2.5 years before they got caught. So this idea that, they beat Penn State without cheating. They beat Ohio State. First of all, weird flex.
They was beating Penn State without cheating before anyway.
I know, but like the weird flex, like from these guys, like, we weren't cheating in the back half of the season. Like, do you guys realize how foolish you sound? Like, it's just so ridiculous, right? But the bottom line is the stink of that is always going to be there for quite some time. And it's going to be there, especially for this final game of the 2023-24 season coming up next Monday night. If they win, I guarantee you there will be an asterisk next to it. Just like when they won last night, people are talking about it. I'm talking about it because I feel a certain way about it. They didn't beat Alabama last night because of the sign stealing scandal, but it just makes me annoyed that a team that is already as good as what they are, it just pisses me off even more because I see how good Michigan is. I look at that roster. I know how good Harbaugh is. They didn't need to do that. So the fact that they had to do that, they're just a bunch of cowards at the end of the day. And I'm getting all heated here as I said I won it. That's the problem I have. And this gaslighting from their fans of all of this. Well, wait and see. Shaw keeps doing this. Well, we'll see. We'll see. See what? You can't. Why don't you don't need to see forward. Just look in the past. He got suspended from twice, and the second suspension was for this. Oh, you guys need that to be true. It is. It was true. It happened. They got caught. Now there's more that will come out of this, but there was enough to be able to implement to be able to indict them in this situation where they got suspended. Multiple coaches were fired. And then the other thing is they're mocking Michigan, the program itself, mocking everybody. Harbaugh mocking people in these press conferences. All right. This victim mentality of the adversity that they've had to come up. You caused it. That, like, you can't light your house on fire and then go get the water hose, put the fire out and say, don't worry, everybody. I got it. Through all odds, smoke coming in my face. I put the fire out. Don't worry. Against all odds, I battled through. Shut up. What are we doing here? Like, that is just absolutely asinine. And here's the third thing. The thing that set me off last night. Guess who was behind the Michigan bench last night, sitting with Chase Winovich and other Michigan alums? The guy that we were told had no relationship with former players. Mr. Connor Stallions.
Really?
Yes, it was Chase Winovich. He put it on his little Instagram story and everything and all this. And, yeah. Now, let me tell you this. Everyone says that this is a guy that went rogue, right? I call BS on that to begin with anyways, because here's the thing. If I went rogue and did something that got our station in trouble, if I went and stole a bunch of diary books and I started filling out the Kinner and Kev show, and guess what? And then now Kinner and Kev, now we're making all this money because Kinner falsely filled out these diary books. Guess what? Brett, our boss, he knew nothing about it, but there will be a fine coming to our building. I will be fired. There will be a lot of stuff that comes down. Brett, my boss, cannot say, oh, I didn't know he was doing that. He was going rogue. I mean, you can't hold me accountable. Brett will be held accountable.
Right.
And it would be a selfish decision on my part. But here's the deal. If that happened and the holiday party comes around and I show up to the holiday party and I, dap up Brett and we're having a drink together and we're just, oh, how you been and everything. And everything's cool. Everything's fine. I mean, there would be animosity there if you went rogue, if you set up the company to look bad, if you embarrassed your company. The thing is, the fact that he did not feel uncomfortable, the fact that he was not afraid to go to that Rose Bowl game, to be around the guys, he could have, what if the NCAA would have said, you know what, you're not allowed to participate in the playoff? What if the Big Ten said, Harbaugh, you're suspended for the rest of the season? What if that would have happened? That would have been his fault, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel like it's his fault? No, it feels like he's the scapegoat.
Right.
Because if it truly was his fault, like this is a guy that also got fired and didn't care that he got fired. It's almost as if the plan from the beginning was, hey, we're going to go with this as long as we can. But remember, if we get caught, we're cutting the head off the snake, right? Like the fact that he was at that game last night with former players and everyone is just, everything's perfectly fine. To me, Kev, that shows that there was no sense of remorse or anything. That shows to me that there's no animosity, not from me and you as Buckeye fans and college football fans. To me, I think it's creepy and weird that their own school doesn't have a problem with him, because if he truly did go rogue on this, they should hate him more than me and you should hate him. They should say, look at this great team we have. You almost ruined it for all of us. But they're not doing that because they knew.
They're embracing it.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say with this whole thing. The fact that he was there last night, that was just so idiotic. They're flaunting it. They are literally laughing at everyone around them. And that's the problem I have with all of this, is that right there.
Yeah, it's a crazy situation when you talk about this whole Michigan thing and what's going to happen if they actually hoist the championship trophy. Should they get an asterisk for it? Look, yes, it's definitely us in Ohio that are Buckeye fans will look at them with the stank face, and all the other teams in the Big Ten will as well, probably the rest of the country. But to them, they won't care because they'll be wearing their T-shirts, wearing their hats, going to rallies and having a good old time. Remembering the good days of beating Ohio State 3 times in a row, beating Penn State without throwing a forward pass in the second half, all that type of stuff. And then the NCAA, I have their words. And the NCAA, 6 months, 6 years, 60 years, or whatever they decide to do something, they'll strip away the title. But guess what? Doesn't mean anything if they strip it away, because guess what? You're not going to strip those memories. You're not going to strip those Saturdays away from the Michigan fans, fan base. You're not going to strip them away, and your dang show ain't going to return people's money. So what does it really matter? So yeah, to have an asterisk, and they'll be perfectly okay with that. They'll be perfectly fine with that because they'll hoist the trophy. And even if the NCAA takes away the victories or whatever, they'll still have their memories, and they'll still have it on their DVR. They'll still buy the DVD of it. They'll still enjoy it.
Sean will have it on his DVD.
And so it means nothing. It means nothing. Like they're in the situation where they can win it, and they better win it, because when they do come down 6 years, 6 months, 60 years or whatever, you're going to be like, dang, oh well. But if you don't win it and they still take away what happened, then that'll make you upset. That'll tick you off. So you got to win it. Pressure's on.
Yeah. So if there is an asterisk next to that, Michigan has already told you they don't care.
Right.
So the bottom line is the fans don't care, and it's obvious because we're using facts. These aren't opinions. These are straight up facts. I mean, the suspension, that wasn't an opinion. I don't think he got suspended. I know he got suspended. I don't think Connor Stallions and the linebackers coach got fired. We know they got fired, and we know why they got fired. So these are no longer opinions. This isn't a Buckeye fan. Like, that's what Shaw tried telling me, like, oh, you're just an angry, bitter Buckeye fan and yada, yada. No, I don't care if I'm a Clemson fan, whatever. I will say, the only thing I will say is, if I could redirect my anger, it should be the NCAA. But the NCAA has such a laundry list of things of how they handle college athletics inappropriately anyway. So it's like, just add this to the list. But they should not have been allowed in this playoff. That's the whole thing right here. Like, taking it away, that's not doing anything. Giving it to them in the first place, that was the problem.
Give them a chance. Yeah.
That to me is wrong, because you know what? We could sit here and say that, that didn't make a difference, that they didn't win games because of that. Well, how do you know? We don't know, because it is kind of, say what you want, but CBS put the graphic up of the numbers over the last 2.5 years that the sign stealing scandal goes back to, what their numbers were with that versus the numbers after it.
Right.
Now, I'm not delusional. You can make an argument that a lot of the teams that they were playing were not very good before. And of course, then they play the Penn States and the Ohio States and all that stuff. Of course, the numbers are going to be, inflated a little bit. But look, at the end of the day, yes, there'll be an asterisk, but they won't care. Look, the Houston Astros, they cheated. They won the World Series. And the sign stealing thing that, by the way, baseball said a lot of the same things, Kev. Everyone's doing it. Didn't matter. Look at those players are still getting plunked to this day when they step in the box. Even guys that are playing for different teams. All right. Managers got fired. All that stuff. Dude, Houston Astro fans weren't silly enough, I hope, to say, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. No, we knew. It happened. There was proof. You sound delusional when you say that stuff. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But the bottom line is, I'm not a hypocrite because last night they didn't win because of sign stealing. They didn't. They didn't beat Ohio State the last 3 years. At least I don't think because of sign stealing. I think it helped. But they're a very good team, a very good program. And to me, that's what makes it even worse. Is because they didn't have to do it, but they did it anyways. All right, 518-1410, 518-1410. Keith Tolliver, I saw that you had called in. I put you on hold. You dropped. If you call back, we'll get you on hold. Shaw, we gave you the green light to call a long time ago. Your suspension is lifted, at least for now. So if you want to call in, you're more than welcome to. But just throwing that out there. But, yeah, Harbaugh going to the NFL. He going to the NFL. Whether it's the Raiders, whether it's the Chargers, probably going to be the Chargers, probably going to pair up with Justin Herbert and all that fun stuff, and more power to him as far as that's concerned. All right, it's Kenner Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Kenner and Kev Show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-374-0758 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-374-0758. That's 800-374-0758. What do you have to lose? Call 800-374-0758. Again, 800-374-0758.
A new year calls for a better bed. At Mattress Firm's once-a-year sale and clearance, save up to 60% on select mattresses. The right mattress matters, and Mattress Firm will find yours.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Today, a mix of clouds and sun with a high of 39. Tonight, a few clouds rolling through, a low of 29 degrees. Tomorrow for your Wednesday, going to be a mix of clouds and sun early, then becoming cloudy later in the day with a high of 41. I'm Adam Zellick for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hungry for a great time, maybe some great food? Then come on down to your neighborhood Submarine House. Try our oven-toasted deli subs, our mouth-watering salads, pizzas, appetizers, and more. And wash them down with a unique selection of craft beers while watching the big game on our big screens. With locations around Dayton, in Columbus, and our newest sports bar in Kettering, you're never far from a Submarine House. Subs, sports, spirits, Submarine House.
Are you involved with a school or charitable fundraiser that holds an auction, bid and buy booth, or a raffle to raise money? Many of the most popular items at auctions or booths are autographed sports memorabilia items. How can you get great items in your event? Call Adam Walter at Sports Investments. Sports Investments has a consignment program for fundraisers that has provided outstanding items. You select items that are proven sellers, including autographed pieces from Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Big Red Machine, the Bengals, the Browns, UC, XU, UK, NKU, Dayton, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Sports Investments consigns the items to your group at a highly discounted price. And when they sell, you keep the profit. You don't pay anything in advance. And if something doesn't sell, you simply return it. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Whether we're in your home for a new McAfee installation, a scheduled maintenance, or a repair, you can count on McAfee to do what we say we'll do when we say we'll do it. We care about the services we provide and the products we install in your home, tailor-fitting our work to your family's needs through the entire process. We stand behind what we do, and we're proud to put our name on it. Breathe easy, choose McAfee, or have a cow.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Kenner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. No Shaw. I don't know what happened.
On to the next one.
He was chirping, but that's all right. He suspended himself. It's like Michigan, self-inflicted suspension. But we welcome you back again, Kenner and Kev. Happy New Year. All right, so we went that whole hour talking about beating up on our rival, right? And we talked about the bowl games, or at least the college football playoff games and everything. But there was one particular game that was not pretty. And let's just get Ohio State. Now, a lot of Ohio State media over the years has always just been known to just put perfume on the turd and tell you it smells good type of thing. That's not what's going on. And to a lot of Ohio State media's credit, even like the fanboy blogger sites and all that stuff, like this is the most critical I have seen the fanboy media of Ohio State in quite some time. And I used to think it was, back when I thought they should be heavily criticized during the Urban era, the Urban era, Kev, brought out the homerism more than I think any other era, at least that I can recall. What we're watching with Michigan, the homerism there, where their program could do no wrong, that's where Ohio State was during the Urban era.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you know that Ryan Day does not have that the fans do not have Ryan Day's back, is because Urban could do no wrong. Urban could lose to Purdue. He could lose to Iowa. He could be shut out against Clemson, but he was still Urban Meyer.
Right.
Ryan Day could win less than a handful or lose less than a handful of games, make the college football playoff, Heisman finalist quarterbacks left and right, great recruiting classes left and right, and people still aren't happy. I was one of those that was supportive. I'm not supportive right now, but this is the most vulnerable that Ohio State has been outside of the Luke Fickell transition year whenever Tressel left and Urban took over, that little bridge year.
Mm-hmm.
Where does Ohio State go from here, Kev? Because we're a Buckeye affiliate. Kev may not think things are as bad as what I do, and some of you may not think it's as bad. Some of you may think it's worse. But an honest discussion, this is not the Buckeye team that I used to defend years and years ago. This is a Buckeye team that is very vulnerable, and you have UCLA coming in, you have USC coming in, Oregon and Washington, and Michigan's a powerhouse right now. And I think that program, not because the NCAA is going to come after them, it's just Harbaugh's leaving, and they have nothing coming back next year. Now they can plug a lot of stuff with the portal and all that, but the bottom line is it's a very vulnerable time in the Big Ten, and it's the most vulnerable time I can remember Ohio State in quite some time. And you don't want to be vulnerable heading into a new era of college football, because it's very hard sometimes to dig yourself out of a hole. Michigan did it. Kudos to them. It's not easy to do. And just because they did it doesn't mean Ohio State's going to do it. Ohio State was able to weather the storm when Tressel left. This isn't the same thing. No one's leaving, but should somebody be leaving? What's going on right now? Because there is a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that just seems to be leaking and coming out, that this program's just not buttoned up. And I don't think Gene Smith on the way out, he stopped trying to do things that would put him in favor of the program, I guess, like the stuff that you called out a long time ago. You called out the vulnerable, or the pitfalls that could potentially come between the athletics department and the collectives, which happens all around the country. But some have realized that the key to success for the department to keep making money is to be good on the field. Ohio State's having to take a step back, 2 steps back on the field, because Gene Smith is not working with the collectives, but Gene Smith doesn't care because he's on the way out. By the time the new AD gets in and gets his or her footing in and gets that relationship reestablished, or maybe not established at all, this could be a multi-year problem for Ohio State that I don't see them digging themselves out of. Ohio State's not they might be a playoff team next year, but based on my gut and my vibe right now, this is not a good situation. I do not feel good about Ohio State. I don't know the last time I said that, to be honest with you.
It's a bad look right now. It's a bad look for everything involved with Ohio State. I think the best thing that happened in the last since we lost to that team up north was signing day, because it sure wasn't what happened on the football field. It sure isn't what's happening in the transfer portal. It sure isn't what's happening with the coaching staff. Sure isn't happening with the great Gene Smith. Things with Gene Smith, he's retiring. So before I took my little hiatus from the good old Twitterverse, tweeted out the collectives and the powers that be at The Ohio State University are doing Buckeye Nation a disservice, because a lot of egos are involved. Egos are involved from the school. Egos are involved from both collectives. Everybody wants to feel like they're the man. They're the person that brought so-and-so to the school. They're the ones that, got this person. Coming together is the key. Being on the same page is the key. And obviously, the person I think that needs to be speaking up the most, and I don't know that he's not speaking up behind closed doors, because he probably don't want to do this in front of the public and, make it seem like things are even worse than they are, but just Coach Day. Because Coach Day, he's the one that's going to be ultimately fired if things continue down this path. He's the one that's going to hold it. And then after he holds it, let's just say worst case scenario, they just play bad. They win, I don't know, 9 games next season, and they're like they lose to that team up north again, and they have that conversation with Coach Day, and he's let go. The next hire, whomever that person may be, they're going to get everything that they want. They're going to get the collectives to be on the same page. You're going to get the university to be on the same page. And then everybody's going to look at Coach Day like, see, we're winning again. It was all Coach Day's fault. That's why Coach Day, I'm hoping, is speaking up behind closed doors, trying to get these entities to get on the same page. We need to get our stuff together. And I say we because we're part of Buckeye Nation. The collectives need to stop whatever they're doing with the bickering. The university needs to stop with the, no, we want the donations to come to the school. We don't want it going to the collective. They need to stop. They need to get all on the same page, because who's on the same page? The Georgia collective, the Alabama collective, the Texas A&M collective, the Texas collective. They're all on the same page. They know who's bringing in the money. The football team is bringing in the money. Look, man, we understand, man. We want all the teams at Ohio State to be great. The basketball team, the men's and women's basketball team, the track and field team, the baseball team, the hockey team, field hockey team, all the teams at us. We want them all to win. The football team is the reason why any of them are good. It's the football team. And if the football team's not winning, ain't going to be no money coming. And ain't going to be no scholarships given to, has-beens. You got to get your stuff together. Now, talking about what we saw on that football field versus the Cotton Bowl, I stand firm on.
Real quick,
go ahead.
Before you go to the football field,
yeah,
because again, my bad. I not hijacked it, but
no, you're good.
I brought up the game and then went to the collective issues because that's where my mind went. But here's the problem with the collective. For those of you, so Kev brought up a good point about the egos involved. There are 3 different collectives.
Ridiculous.
And then there is the athletics department. There's Gene Smith. Okay. My big question is this. Because there was a report that came out on 11 Warriors that talked about the rumor being that Cam Ward wanted $2 million to come to Ohio State, and that's one reason why Ryan Day said absolutely not. And my big question is absolutely why not? If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But the big thing is I don't think Ohio State needs to do if they did that, I'd feel great. And I think you got to be aggressive. But the bottom line is they're soft up front. Go spend that money on that O-line up front. And if you say no to Cam Ward, it better be because, we're using that money to go fine tune this, but no money is being dished out anywhere right now as far as the portal is concerned. It's all, the incoming, and they don't want to give money to the players coming in because they haven't proven anything yet. So the thing I keep coming across is, so you say Ryan Day speaking up, but who signs off on that? So if Ryan Day said no to the Cam Ward thing, who's in charge of that money? Who said, right? Does Ryan Day, because technically they're not allowed to be crossing over.
Right.
That's why the collectives are holding on to all this, because if one collective has the $2 million that lands DJ Uiagalelei, who is now at Florida State, or lands Cam Ward or whatever, that collective they want the credit for it.
Right.
There's 3 collectives. They're all fighting against one another. Now there's a big pot of money. You combine it all, that's great for Ohio State, but there's 3 pots of money. Then they're all fighting against one another. Then they're all enemies to one another. They're all trying to get Gene Smith to fork over the donor list so that they can communicate with them to Gene Smith's, not really credit, but I see his side. we make a ton of money. We would be literally losing money in our athletics department because some of these donors would say, well, why do I need to give that money to Gene Smith, who's going to spread it out? I'm giving you money really because I'm a football fan.
Mhm.
Why am I giving you my $5 million annual donation for the swim team, for the lacrosse team or whatever?
Non-revenue generating sports.
No offense to them, but that's honestly how this is built. So that money goes to the athletics department, which trickles throughout. Or I could take my $5 million, give it directly to that collective, and I could put stipulations on it that this money can only be used for this. And then guess what? Now, all of a sudden, it is pay for play in a very schematic way that still doesn't break the rules. So Gene Smith and whatever athletic director they get in there, I mean, it's going to be imperative that they get along with the collectives, but we are talking about the collectives as if it's just one big unit. It's not. So you may get along with this collective, but no, you're talking to him. Well, how come you're not talking to us? How come you're doing that? This whole thing is a disaster, and it doesn't have to be, but you're right. It's the egos, and I don't know who to blame. I think it's a little bit of everybody, but the bottom line is there is now more power outside of the Ohio State athletics department than there is inside, and I think that is something that rocked Ohio State that they were not ready for. I don't know how Alabama and Georgia and these other programs, how they buttoned everything up so quickly, but more power to them. But you have the goody-goody guys like Ohio State. We don't want to do it that way. You have the goody-goody guys like Clemson and Dabo. We don't do it that way. You know, we want to recruit guys and develop them, and we, built here and that stuff. That sounds great. Put it on a bumper sticker because that's the only place that's going to be worth the damn. Because right now, it's not playing dirty, but you got to adjust to the rules. And it's not Ryan Day that's not doing it. It's the program. It's the athletics department. This is an athletics department problem that is now trickling down. This is a problem. Like I said, 3 different collectives, or maybe it's 2. It's either 2 or 3 different collectives that they're fighting for money against one another. Then they're fighting against Gene Smith. And it's just an all-out money war. It's like Yellowstone played out in the Ohio State athletics department.
Yes, it's a bad look because let's just say, for instance, like you talked about Cam Ward, if he really did ask for $2 million. He was being recruited from Ohio State to Florida State to Miami. Now, you're talking about the money that Miami's been dishing out to people. I'm sure they had that $2 million to give to him. He ultimately decided to go pro. Now, if I am Ryan Day and they really are asking his input, and they said, we're going to give him $2 million. And he said, no, don't give him $2 million. Go find me an offensive tackle. Go find me an offensive guard, and we can split that $2 million up against 2 guys that can fix my offensive line. I would be with that. But there seems to be a disconnect going on between the university, the football team, and the collectives. And I say the football team because do you hear any trouble coming out of the hoops team? Either one of them? Both hoops teams, men's and women's, they're winning games, and everybody's happy. None of the fans are happy because they haven't tuned into either basketball team yet because it's not March. But, they're winning games. Do you hear any murmurings from the head coaches of the basketball team or the players? You know what? I scroll through my timeline. I see the men's and women's basketball team at Chipotle doing the ad thing every day, every single day. Everything's cool on their front. I'm sure everything's cool on the track and field side too. It's the football team. So whatever's going on with the football team, the moneymaker, the one that everybody cares about, things are going to be messed up. Things are going to be messed up, and they need to get it together. Look, I'm not smart enough to tell, Gene Smith or Coach Day what they should be doing. But I am smart enough to tell you when people are on 3 different pages and there's egos involved, you're not going to come to the one common goal, which is winning football games.
Going to be an interesting offseason. And this is why that meaningless bowl game, I hate these bowl games. Because remember I said, you win, you're supposed to win, whatever. But if you lose, it's back-to-back. It's the second straight season where they've lost back-to-back games. You have a lot of, even though the loss against Georgia, although that was bad, it didn't feel bad, right? Like we actually felt good after the loss to Georgia. That's as weird as that sounds.
But I get what you're saying.
Because after the loss to Michigan, we thought for sure that was going to lead to, man, if we lost to Michigan, Georgia's way better than Michigan. They're going to pummel it or one play away, 1 stop, 1 second away from getting to the championship game. And that's how crazy this is. We're a year removed from one more play going Ohio State's way to blowing out TCU in the championship game, and it's a whole other different narrative right now.
Paris Johnson ain't on that offensive line. Luke Whipplers is up there in Cleveland blocking on the offensive line up there. Like this offensive line, you look at this game, and I know a lot of people are like, oh man,
Juan Jones.
Yeah. So it's a particular play during the Cotton Bowl where all 5 offensive linemen lose their individual matchups. That is alarming. That is so alarming. Look, you're going up against other talented guys. You're going to lose some matchups. It happens. It's football. It is what it is. But when all 5 lose at the same time, that's a red flag for coaching change. Like, look, man, they're not receiving the information that you're giving them, offensive line coach. They're not taking in that information. So we just got a whole new crop of new young guys that are coming here and be Buckeyes on that offensive line. Do you want them to be developed by the guy that just gave that performance from his offensive line this past season? You got guys exiting the program who are 4-star guys who decided to go elsewhere because for whatever reason, they probably weren't developed either. These guys weren't developed. So the only way to fix this problem is to get a new offensive line coach and probably some more talent on that offensive line as well, because that was horrible. I know Devin Brown rolled his ankle again, and he was unable to finish the game, and that's kind of like the sucky part. I kind of liken it to, Kenny Pickett with his ankle injury. We weren't able to see Kenny Pickett without Matt Canada, and we weren't able to see a full game from Devin Brown, just like to see if he has it. Like
Browns, like Deshaun had that great game against the
right.
Ravens.
Yeah.
Like, cool, that was fun, but what do you do after that?
Yeah, like you never get to stack this situation. So now you throw in your 3rd string quarterback, and he looks like a 3rd string quarterback. A little information for people out there: this isn't the NFL, where Tom Brady can practice as long as he wants because he's Tom Brady, and I'm taking all the first team reps. I'm taking all the snaps. And guess what? The backup can practice as long as he wants. This still is college where, they have limitations about how long you can practice with your coach. You can do work on your own, but being coached is totally different. So judging from what we've seen from Kyle McCord, you think Coach Day was letting the 3rd string true freshman get a lot of reps with the first team? I think Kyle McCord needed as many reps as humanly possible to get him to play as well as he did this season. So you throw a guy in there who's probably only been there really getting a whole bunch of cardio and working out, getting, hanging out with Coach Mariotti, getting the strength program together, probably looking at some things in the boardrooms and stuff like that, but actually field reps, very little. Oh, hey, man, backup dude just rolled his ankle, man. We're going to need you to go save the day. God. Oh, yeah, offensive line kind of bad, too. Good luck, kid. Slap him on the button, throw him out there. What you think was going to happen? This is exactly what's going to happen. And as soon, I think the defense played outstanding, to be perfectly honest. But there's something called being tired. So when the offense does nothing for 3 quarters, and then people are mad that the defense gave up a 90-yard drive, and then offense goes 3 and out again, and then they give up a 60-yard drive. Well, if they were just on the field for 7 straight minutes, the offense is on the field for 2 minutes, and they go right back out there, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to go right back down the field because you're tired. That's what happens.
We all can't be Iowa.
Exactly.
That defense is trained for 3 and outs. Let's just put it that way.
The Iowa dudes must be a part of the cross-country team or something like that to win they got, man. But it was bad. It was bad. And, the game, I still feel that the bowl games mean something, especially when you're in the position to be rolling out new starters potentially, stuff like that. But this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. Like, as soon as he rolled that ankle, I was like, oh, this game's over.
And he didn't look good before the
right, yeah, he wasn't looking that great either.
And that's what's wild to me. So here's the problem I have. People say, well, yeah, he was just nerves at the beginning. Now, here's where I'm being the hoity-toity Buckeye fan, right? Ohio State, the inaugural college football playoff, the national championship was won by Ohio State. And it wasn't just that they won, it was how they won and the storyline that went behind it. And this is where Ryan Day has actually had to coach. And I'm not saying Urban Meyer never had to coach, but sometimes Nick Saban, like a lot of times the only coaching that Nick Saban and these elite coaches are doing are crunch time of a close game. Because when you have so much talent at all these positions, you're not, you don't have to worry. You don't have to overlook the offense as much. You're not babysitting the quarterback's coach. You're not babysitting the offensive coordinator. When you have so much talent on defense, you don't have to go babysit the defensive drills over here. With all of the holes that Ohio State has had, Ryan Day's had to make a lot of tough decisions. He had to lose a lot of sleep at night because he had to make tough decisions that Ohio State's usually not accustomed to doing. Ohio State won the very first national championship of the college football playoff era with Braxton Miller going out, JT Barrett coming in, JT Barrett going out, Cardale Jones coming in, Cardale Jones leading to a national championship. Then heading into the next year, then you had the luxury, you have so much talent that you're going to take one of those dominant starting quarterbacks, you're going to move one to wide receiver, and then it's going to take an OVI or DUI, whatever it was, to take the starting job from one to give it to the other, and then, no, I don't like how that looks, we're going to give it back to the other. Like, there was just an embarrassment of riches. Oh, and then don't worry, when that era's done, we got Dwayne Haskins, JT Barrett, by the way, who statistically just kicked Kyle McCord's behind, right? And I wasn't a big JT. I like JT, but I was like, he can't get us to where we want to go, right? He could have got this team to where we needed them to go this season, no doubt about it. But that's how spoiled we have been, that even JT Barrett didn't seem good enough. Because why? Because there was a Dwayne Haskins waiting behind him. And oh my God, we lose a Heisman finalist quarterback. Oh, don't worry. There's Justin Fields. And for 2 years, a Heisman finalist quarterback. And for 2 years, we're fighting for the number one spot and beating Michigan and getting to the playoff and being a championship contender. But we lose him. Don't worry. We got 2 more years of CJ Stroud. This is never going to end. We're going to be great forever. Oh, Kev. Oh, the Tua Batuka. Where the hell you always used to throw? Batuka. Yeah, that. I'm like, oh, Kev, stop with your negativity. Get that out of here. You were right. Because the bottom line is for years, I have been spoiled. Buckeye fans have been spoiled. Not all of us are level-headed like Kev Nash over here. But the bottom line is at the end of the day, this is it's not empty. It's not empty. It's still a super talented roster, but this is not as deep of a roster as what we have seen over the last decade. Is it a Ryan Day thing? Is it not being Urban Meyer? Is it a transition in eras of college football and the landscape changing? I think it could be D, all the above. The bottom line is this college football landscape is not the same. Ohio State is not the face of the Big Ten anymore. I don't think Michigan's going to be the face of the Big Ten after this season. That's not a shot at them, but you have Harbaugh potentially leaving. You have so many big name programs coming in. Washington and Oregon, I think, are going to be the 2 big dogs moving forward, with the big brand being USC and Ohio State. They're looking up, saying, and by the way, Wisconsin looked really good in their bowl game. I think that my guy Fickle, who I've always been a fan of, they're going to turn things right too. So bottom line is the Big Ten is a very, very good conference right now moving forward with all the changes. And I think it's cool that no matter who wins next Monday, the Big Ten will have the national champion heading into next season. But we're not talking about Ohio State. And that's we are, and the things we are talking about, it's not good. And that's the concern I have. This team used to be able to make mistakes, and it didn't matter. Your quarterback gets a DUI, don't worry, we got Cardale Jones. Oh, breaks his ankle. Oh, don't worry, we got JT Barrett. Oh, he goes down against Michigan. Don't worry, we got this. They don't have that anymore. But the problem is they don't have depth at quarterback. They don't have depth at the offensive line. They did have it at running back, but everyone dispersed. All the 5-star wide receivers, a couple of them bolted over the weekend. What the hell is happening, Kev? I'm not a fan of this. I need some of that level-headed calmness.
Before I get to the level-headedness, I'll say this. This is not the time to be in transition. This is not the time to be in transition. From the transfer portal to the NIL collective to the expansion of the college football playoff, this is not the time that you want to be trying to find your way. If this was still the 14 playoff, man, this is a blip. We can get it together, but things are changing. Conference realignment. There's more teams coming. There could potentially be a particular team from Florida coming to the Big Ten. Look, man, I always have to say this. It is Ohio State first, but I'm telling you, if Florida State comes to this conference, it's going to be trouble for everybody. And I know people are just like, what are you saying because of Florida State? Look, man.
They got beat by 60. I ain't afraid of that team, Kev.
Exactly.
Their butt, dude.
Exactly. And to the point about Coach Day praying that he's speaking up because he's the one that's going to have to wear it. And like I say this all the time, about injuries and about this, that, and the third, we don't care. And I mean, I care as a person, but the royal we, the majority of us, we're not looking to say oh, that's why. Oh, that's why this happened. All we see is Ohio State lost 14-3 to Missouri. And we look at Missouri as Missouri, get out of here. That's how we look at them. We scored 3 points from versus Missouri and lost the bowl game. That's all we care about. We don't care that Kyle McCord decided to leave. We don't care that Marvin Harrison Jr. decided not to play. We don't care that the offensive line is terrible. All we see, we lost, fix it. And to be perfectly honest, we're right. You got to fix it because guess what? That's your job.
Yeah, and I will say it's kind of funny, all the powerhouses. Like, it's not a coincidence at Alabama, although they were in the playoff and we're close to getting back to the national. It's not a coincidence that Alabama is not the powerhouse that they were. It's not a coincidence. Look, Georgia missed the playoff this year. It's not a coincidence Ohio State's no longer the face of the Big Ten. The reason is because those teams dominated. There's a certain era of how things were played out, whether it be on the field, on the recruiting trail, and all that stuff. What NIL and everything has done is it's the opposite. We thought that those programs would just eat. It's actually created chaos because elite programs are so buttoned up that they're buttoned up based on how the landscape is now. Well, the landscape's not the same. So now it's like some of them get so set in their ways, they have to crumble before they rebuild back up. Then you have other programs who are kind of closer to the middle of the line. I like Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. I don't know.
They're going to kill it next year.
Yes, I'm a big Lane Kiffin Ole Miss, not fan. That sounds silly, but like, they're the kind of program, like, and the Wisconsins are the kind of program. There's like a lot of these, not mid-tier, they're in that second rung, if you will, that they're right there. They're always buttoned up. They always haven't had to be what those other elite teams are. So it's going to be easier for them to transition in and out. They're better off right now. And that's why we're starting to see the Washingtons, the TCUs over the last 2 years. There's a reason these programs that haven't really given light to in years past are all of a sudden, they're not better programs than Ohio State, Alabama, and others, but they're having more success right now, and you got to pay attention to that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Texas A&M had that big-time recruiting class with Jimbo, like not last year, but I think 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Those dudes are going to Ole Miss. Is Washington, this team, that's going to be Ole Miss next year. Just like Tennessee last year is Washington. Like, it's going to keep rolling. Whoever hits the transfer portal with elite talent to supplement the guys that they already have on their roster is going to be the teams that take that extra step. And I mean, you look at the college football playoff now. I mean, look at it, man. Look at the two teams that were undefeated. You look at Washington, Michael Penix, 6-year quarterback. Florida State, Jordan Travis, 6-year quarterback. Like, those teams took advantage of the situation by the extra years.
Dug in last year with TCU.
Yeah.
Yep.
Extra years. I mean, Hendon Hooker with Tennessee, he was a 6-year guy. I know they didn't make it to the college football playoff and everything like that, but like, they were on their way until he broke his leg. So like, it's points. You have to supplement your roster with other elite talent out there with the guys that you bring in. So there's no question Ohio State got a whole bunch of wide receivers. No question that we got DBs. Do we have the offensive line? Do we have the linebackers? You got to get those other guys to plug in those spots. And I mean, maybe this year, Hicks from Alter comes in there and balls out next year. I'm praying to the heavens that he does.
I hope he can get some playing time in the spring game. I mean, my goodness. Sometimes I think, do they even know he's on the roster? Yeah, and that's the thing, too. They're going to get the O-line figured out, but in the process of doing that, they're losing all the top wide receivers. Like, they're fine. That's a good thing about having that depth there. It's like running back. I wasn't fearing that they left. We're still waiting to hear. I mean, that's the problem, too. There was a lot of guys leaning towards coming back. Did that leave a bad taste in their mouth to the point where they want to come back, like Trevion Henderson? Or did they say, you know what? I'm out. I can't go through another year of this mess. So who knows? We'll see.
Oh, boy.
It's 2024. Happy New Year, everybody. It's the Kinner and Kev show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. How about that extended segment? We were just rambling. Not even rambling. It was venting.
Hopefully Debbie doesn't kill it.
It's been a tough
the first show of the year.
It's been a tough couple weeks. And then you have that team up north winning, cheating, but winning.
Cheating their way to the top.
You need that to be true. Michigan, Washington, national championship game next Monday night. College football. Bittersweet.
Last game of the season.
Yeah. All right. We'll be right back. Go Browns, baby. Haven't got
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Hey, Cordell Transportation is now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers, excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply right now online at CordellTransportation.com. Do it right now. Driven to succeed.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-374-0758 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-374-0758. That's 800-374-0758. What do you have to lose? Call 800-374-0758. Again, 800-374-0758.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Dayton's radio home of Wright State basketball. Coming up on Thursday night, Wright State will welcome in Cleveland State. This has definitely not been the season that they were anticipating at all. But again, we've seen Wright State throughout the Coach Nagy era have some slow starts that have ended up resulting in their best. I mean, that year that they won their first NCAA tournament game in program history 2 years ago, people don't know they were under 500 for the first 2 months and some change, kind of like they are right now. Now, I'm not promising that that's going to be the end result, but at the same time, Coach Nagy teams have a habit of really kind of coming together right around this time, but they're kind of running out of time. We're 1-2 in league play. Again, it's a one-bid league. We completely get that, but at the same time, it's all about positioning yourself for that 4-day run, of course, and all that. But Cleveland State's ESPN 2 game on Thursday night, $2 beer night, by the way, just throwing that out there. We're going to be giving away some tickets. So, there you go.
Nice.
Okay,
I'll be there. I didn't know it was $2 beer night, though.
Let me make sure I looked at the right promotion.
Oh, man.
I'd hate to get everyone all jacked up for $2 beer night. But
I was telling you on the break that since that 2 weeks I was doing a whole bunch of eating and drinking and hanging around, I'm not drinking anymore during the week, only on Saturdays. But, I mean, $2 beer night. I mean, new year, new me, maybe not.
$2 beer. Let's see. Let me go to this. Let me make sure that we have this all ready to go and fired up because, I mean, I'm supposed to call the game that night, but I may not call that game. I might. Hey, where's Kenner? I'm double fisted.
No, back in line again.
Yep. You said you got a PlayStation 5 for
yes.
Christmas. Is that the best Christmas present you got? You better be nice. Shayla, I'm sure got you something nicer, right? Like wink, wink, right? I got you, Shayla. Don't worry.
I got
them socks. He said he loved them socks.
Actually, she did give me some socks. So I got some socks and some more Jordans from the wife. My brother got me a PS5. So the crazy thing about my brother is he's super last minute. We are completely opposite. I am on time. He is late. So we going home to Cleveland for the holiday. He lives in Las Vegas. So he calls me like, "Hey, when you going to mommy's house for Christmas?" I'm like, "We're gonna leave on Friday or whatever." It's like, "Oh, cool. All right. Well, this is like on a Wednesday." He's like, "Oh, I'm about to mail your stuff." I was like, "No, don't mail it now. Mail it on Friday because Christmas on a Monday. So like I'll be home. I don't want to just sitting on my porch or whatever." It's like, "Oh yeah, good thinking. All right, bye." Click. I'm like, "All right, boom." We go home. We do Christmas via FaceTime, yada yada yada. He opens some of his stuff. He's like, "Oh, thanks. This is good." Blah, 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 blah. So get back Wednesday. We go to little brunch. So we get back. There's a big box sitting on my porch. I was like, "Oh, looks like bro sent the stuff." So we open up the box, and Shayla looks at one of the boxes inside the box. And she has this look on her face, a look of like, "Oh my God, no, he didn't." He's like, "He got you a PlayStation." I was like, "No, he didn't." I picked it up and it was like super light. I was like, "Nah, this don't feel like a PlayStation. Like super light. Like a PlayStation's heavy, right?" Haven't played games in like 10 years. So she's opening her stuff. She's like, "FaceTime him." So he hit up on FaceTime. I opened it. It's the PlayStation 5. And she was like, "Well, nice knowing you." Because she knows when I'm on them sticks, I turn into a different person. I turn into Kenner.
Really nice.
I get super aggressive.
Praying a lot, talking to the good Lord. You probably do talk to the good Lord.
So, like the first week, I played a lot of games just like versus the computer, just trying to get the buttons down, understand how the new game works and all that type of stuff. So yesterday, I played my first online game. I lost. I lost 30 to
some like 11-year-old in
yeah,
California.
Yeah, I lost 30-7. But my second game, me and Kenny Pickett, we won a game 24-7. And I felt the glory of winning a game versus somebody I never met in my life.
I'm glad that online Kenny Pickett decides that he's good enough to play, and back up, what. Now, his credit, he addressed the media.
Yeah.
I saw a couple good interviews this week. I'm go back to your story in a second. But Kenny Pickett had a lot of people going at him. He addressed the media calm. Russell Wilson had a lot of people going at him, addressed the media calm. Sometimes when players, I always say, when you don't say anything, you let everyone else control the narrative. You have the power to but yeah, Kenny Pickett, I did not like him for a little bit. I'm like, oh, it's kind of hard of a guy not to like a little bit. You just wish you would like him more on the field. I don't really care about who you are. I mean, no, that sounds bad, but then we're like, oh, you're a Browns fan. So yeah, blah, blah, blah. But whatever.
Yeah, I saw that. He was getting wrecked on social media and by the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base for, allegedly saying he wouldn't back up Mason Rudolph versus their game versus Seahawks this past weekend. He came out, basically denied everything, said it wasn't true. He's going to be the number 2 guy this week when we take on the Ravens. So, I mean, like when we see these guys talking to the media and they actually kind of speak up for themselves in I won't say not aggressive way, but just like speaking, matter-of-factly about certain things, because we're so used to, when athletes are questioned, like they feel like they're in a corner and they come out, attacking as opposed to just speaking speaking how they feel. So, yeah, I mean, do I feel bad for him? Not necessarily bad for him. I mean, like, this wouldn't happen if you didn't play bad football.
I know a lot of the Browns media. Do you know the Steelers media that put that out? And are they credible? Like, is there something there with that? Because that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. The people that I follow, like the Brooke Pryors of the world, she covers the Steelers heavily, and another guy called
The Athletic. He's on
Athletic.
McAfee from time to time.
DK Sports. Like they said, it's not true. Like whatever that isn't true. So like those, especially like a Brooke Pryor, I'm gonna take her word over basically anybody else's. Like she's, tied to that program like nobody else. So like if she says it's not true, I'm not gonna believe it.
But enough about a last place team. Let's talk about. No, I'm just joking.
Who's in last place? We're not in last place.
Oh, the Bengals. The Bengals are in last place. Damn it! I was trying to get a burn and it burned.
I mean, we all we got to do is beat the Ravens that should be playing their backups, and hopefully the Dolphins can handle their business versus the Bills. And
Dolphins really let me down this past weekend. I needed the Dolphins to win because if they would have won, the Browns would have been playing for a potential 1 seed. But it was a win-win. Either playing for the 1 seed this weekend or you're resting your starters. If Kevin Stefanski throws Joe Flacco and those dudes out there this weekend, I don't want to hear about we just want to get that momentum going. If you think 3 series in the first quarter is going to keep that momentum going, I got some news for you, buddy.
Definitely going to play them for a quarter.
The Browns have had the word. Don't do that. No. No. They get hurt sneezing. They get hurt even looking at a football field. Don't even practice. Don't even pick up the sticks to play online. Just football doesn't exist for the next 2 weeks for the Cleveland Browns. My goodness. I'm very worried about this game against the Bengals. If they do anything stupid, if the Bengals hurt Joe Flacco, if they hurt Amari Cooper again, if they hurt anybody, Myles Garrett, because I feel something bad happening. I just do. I do not like this matchup with the Bengals. Has nothing to do with the Bengals themselves. It's just the luck of the Cleveland Browns this year. If something happens this weekend, if you think I've been bad to the Bengals before, I will unleash, as Skip Bayless would say. I will unleash if that's the case. But just get through this weekend, please.
Who do you think has a better chance of winning their game? The Cincinnati Bengals versus the Browns, or the Ravens with their backups versus the Pittsburgh Steelers?
The Bengals. Bengals are still, they're not a bad team. I mean, their defense is bad. They're bad, they're bad between the 20s. We saw this. Look, Kansas City, field goal after field goal after field goal. But that was after moving the ball after moving the ball after moving the ball. I had Jay Morrison on last week in the one show that I did. And the one thing him and I talked about was the fact that, But it was one show. It was like that Tuesday coming back. But no, so it was just like defensively, they're a very weird team. Statistically, the second to worst defense in the league. But you watch them, and they don't give up a lot of points, but you can move the ball on them. It's because they're very good in the red zone. Well, that's what we saw against the Chiefs. So as far as the Browns are concerned, they're going to play some guys. How much they play, I don't know, but I don't think we're going to get a true, this game. It doesn't matter for either team. The reason this game matters on Sunday is no one getting hurt.
Right.
Cleveland can lose 50-0, but it's a win if everyone walks off that field, as far as that's concerned to me. But Cincinnati's not a bad team. Offensively, they're okay. They're solid. Might be Tyler Boyd's last game in Cincinnati coming up on Sunday. T. Higgins, who knows what his future is in Cincinnati, as far as that's concerned. And Jamar Chase, can you just be quiet? Can you just stop running your mouth for 2 damn seconds? Every time he got so used to running his mouth and the team backing him up before, every time he opens his mouth this season, they get rocked every single time. He did it against the Elfs in week 1. They got rocked. He did it against the Ravens. They got rocked. He did it against the Chiefs this past weekend. And the defense took care of business. So I'm just saying, I kind of enjoyed the Chiefs win. Go Swifties. There you go.
I think the Baltimore Ravens backups stand a bigger threat to the Pittsburgh Steelers than this situation that's going on. I think the Ravens, just because they're rivals, obviously, but I think Harbaugh would love nothing more but to end the Steelers season. And I mean, that's what rivalries are built off of, ending your rival's season with the backups. And you got to think, what the Ravens do, they're a surefire bet during the preseason to win the game because they play to win the games, even in preseason.
That's what I was just going to say, the preseason.
So, I just think, Harbaugh is not going to just take it lightly, all right, man, well, Lamar, you're not playing, Flowers, you're not playing, OBJ, you're not playing. Some guy that's been on the practice squad that we never heard of is going to try to play the game of his life versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I am terrified of this game. Ultimately, I think the Steelers are going to win, but I just think Buffalo's hot right now, and they're going to beat the Dolphins, and then we'll be, 10-7 and still miss the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be look, the NFL, we'll spend more time on the NFL tomorrow. I know because people are still itching about the college football. Trey Green, he just messages in with a bunch of O's. Go Blue. They're enjoying this. They're enjoying this as far as
to the victor goes the spoils. They won fair and square. They beat Alabama at the Rose Bowl. They won fair and square this game. They won fair and square.
And they're messaging and still they basically, their fan base has already crowned them as national champions. Washington's really good. Washington's really, really good. I mean, there was talks throughout the year if you could have made an argument for them. I mean, there was a time where they were keeping them out of the playoff picture for a while, and we just didn't understand why. You had a Heisman contending quarterback, a top 10 defense, an explosive offense. They beat Oregon. They did what they needed to do. It just was fascinating, kind of the vibe of them. But we talked about it earlier. When Michigan beat Ohio State missed wide open dudes.
Butt naked wide open dudes. Julian Fleming is wide open on several plays.
Has he signed anywhere yet?
He is not, at least I haven't seen.
I don't think so. Not Wisconsin.
The word was obviously the whole package deal to Nebraska with him and McCord, but I would imagine maybe he's going to Penn State. Penn State came in second in his recruiting. He's from Pennsylvania, maybe Penn State, but I haven't seen anything for sure yet on Fleming. But yeah, Fleming was open twice for touchdowns, and Kyle McCord decided to throw a dirt ball to Emeka Ibuka, and then decided to throw into double coverage to Marvin Harrison Jr. to get it intercepted. So, I mean, kudos to Michigan. They brought the pressure to cause that. They caught the interception. They won fair and square. I don't want to take anything away from them, but dudes was open. You just got to be better. You got to be better, and you got to be able to stand in the pocket and take the hit, because that's part of the quarterback's job. Like, we look at football now like, oh, man, we can't touch the quarterback. Quarterbacks still get lit up, but you got to take it. You got to stand in that pocket, stand up tall, make the throws, and wear the hits. And Kyle McCord was unwilling to do that. And to be perfectly honest, Kenny Pickett was unwilling to do that. And that's been the drastic change in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. You have Mason Rudolph, who basically says, I'm going to just stand here and throw it and get hit and complete a pass and limp my way back to the huddle because our offensive line stinks. But guess what? We're winning games. Nobody cares. So kudos to Michigan. Are they going to be able to bring that same type of heat to Michael Penix Jr.? Is Michael Penix Jr. going to stand there and take it? Or is he going to cower and run? We're going to find out on Monday.
Yeah, because when Kyle McCord was moving the ball up and down the field, he was hitting guys wide open while missing a lot of guys wide open at the same time. The thing about Michael Penix Jr. that we talked about earlier,
He ain't got to be wide open.
He's not going to miss guys that are wide open, but he's also going to hit the guys that are what you would deem covered. I mean, there were so many, just you said the basket catches just right along the sidelines where only, I mean, they were perfectly placed balls to where only the wide receiver could get to them, just perfectly pass, balls or whatever. But the bottom line is that Michigan, as good as they are defensively, they played absolutely nobody in the non-con. They played no offensive substance throughout Big Ten play. I mean, when you guys brag about the fact that you didn't have to throw a pass against Penn State, that's because the Penn State's offense was no threat to you guys either. So it was just one of those run the clock out, hold on to the lead, that type of thing. We talked about Ohio State. That was the best quarterback they played all year. And we know Kyle McCord's not an elite level quarterback, but that's the best level quarterback. He had the most success against Michigan's defense this season. You beat Alabama, although Milroe was playing really, really good heading into that matchup. What they did was contain what he could do on the ground. And really, when Alabama took off, it wasn't because of what he was doing through the air. It was because of all of a sudden they turned him into a hybrid quarterback that could, dual threat quarterback that can hurt you a little bit in both. So this is the best quarterback by miles that they have faced all season. This is the best passing attack. This is not the Big Ten. This is not the Sisters of the Poor that you
they're Big Ten now, Kenner.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as that's concerned. But nonetheless, so Trey Green says, yes, Ohio State was nobody. Right. Like, what are you talking about? Right. Like Ohio State's offense. That was not, I mean, the whole thing we were nervous about playing Michigan is our defense. We weren't worried about Michigan's offense overwhelming Ohio State. We were worried about the offense. Hence the interception earlier in the game. Like we were worried about the offense. Could they do enough to win that football game?
Right.
And they did enough to win it, but they also made enough mistakes to lose it. Hence those turnovers. And
Michigan isn't gonna, stand back and play, catch defense. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to get up there and challenge the wide receivers. They're going to challenge them to make those catches. They're going to challenge Michael Penix to make throws. And nobody's saying like, oh man, Washington's going to steamroll them. No, it's going to be a good game. But I think we all can be honest here and say this is the best offense that Michigan has seen. And okay, this is the best defense that Washington has seen. Okay, we can all agree there. Like, Washington has beat Oregon twice this year, who going into the Pac-12 championship game. If you listen to anybody that was a talking head on any other sports show besides this one, said that Oregon was going to steamroll them, and quite the opposite happened. Washington steamrolled Oregon. So, it's going to be a great game. I'm very interested to see what happens. Is it the mighty offense or the mighty defense?
See, I think they put up 30 on Michigan. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Like, mainly because of the fact that, like we talk about that defense that they placed, like they've played good defenses this year and they've done really well. I mean, Oregon is a top defense as far as that's concerned. Now you could say, well, Oregon gives up 100 more yards a game than Michigan. They do, because they actually play teams that pass the football. It's kind of like what we talked about earlier. You look at the fact that they played, Washington, they played Washington, Utah, He played USC. Oregon State, they could throw the football. So, like, that's the thing. Like, when you look at Oregon, they had to play Washington twice. So, yes, Oregon defensively, statistically, they're giving up 100 more yards than Michigan, but they're actually playing teams with real quarterbacks, and that plays a role in that as well. But nonetheless, I can't wait. I think that this game, this is going to be, remember I said earlier, the stat that I was, amazed by, that we have never had a college football playoff for all 3 games did not result in blowouts. And I think that this is going to be the icing on the cherry on top, the kiss goodbye to the 14 playoff. I think it's going to be a back and forth slugfest, but at the same time, it would not surprise me at all to see Washington put up some heavy points on Michigan at the same time. We'll see.
We'll see. I'm hoping for a great game with Washington winning.
Oh yeah.
Like I as much as I obviously despise Michigan, I still want to see the last game of the season be highly entertaining. But I want the team that I actually put money down on to win. And my best friend is a Washington fan, so I want to see him happy.
Trey says, can Washington's defense stop Michigan? That'll be the question.
Absolutely. That's the question.
Yeah.
That's the biggest question out there. Can they hang in the run game? Can they contain the Michigan run game? Because that's what Michigan does. Even if you're a high-flying offense, you slow the game down. Hey, Michael Penix Jr., you're great. Guess what? You can't do anything from the sideline. You can't throw those darts when you're sitting on the sideline if we got the ball all today. So that is going to be Michigan's game plan. That's been Michigan's game plan before they played a quarterback of this ilk. Run the ball, and they're going to be running it a lot to keep him off the field. You know how Michael Penix Jr. doesn't throw for 400 yards if he's not on the field. So, that's 100%. It's going to come down to protecting Michael Penix Jr. for Washington, and it's going to come down to Michigan running the football, controlling the clock.
All right, Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here, 1410 ESPN Radio. Should we make him? Are we going to bring him back on today's show? Or do we make him wait one more day?
One more day.
Nah, we can't make him wait one more
day. One more day.
He's been coming out to the Sunday show. He's been supportive.
You want to talk to him?
No, if I bring him on, you're dealing with him. I'm just saying. But he may have hung up by now. I mean, who knows? I made him wait a little bit. Shaw, is this you?
Yeah, it's me.
Oh,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Welcome back.
Happy New Year. I thought you guys forgot me.
No, I knew you were there the whole time.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much, sir. My question for you, Mr. Kev Nash, because I've already talked to Justin a little bit about it on Sunday.
Okay.
You talk about the collective. What are you more worried about? The collective or the fact that you aren't developing anybody?
I'm gonna say development. I mean, you get guys in on the offensive line that are highly touted, that were guys that were being recruited from the other powerhouse schools, and they're not getting developed. So obviously I would go with development, number one, because if you come to the school, you expect to get development. And, the whole catchphrase at Ohio State is develop here. You can develop there as a quarterback, wide receiver, cornerback, but not offensive line lately. Well, at least this offensive line. I mean, DeJuan Jones developed, Paris Johnson developed, Luke Wepler developed, not this group, not this 5.
Last question on that team from Columbus. Why isn't that coach fired yet?
Who?
The offensive line coach.
That's a great question. I wondered the same thing when I saw all 5 offensive line lose at the snap of the whistle during the Cotton Bowl. I have no idea. You got to do something up there, Coach Day. You got to fix it.
Is it something about the block M that you guys just don't like looking at? Is that what it is?
I have no idea, man. I mean, you got to give Mizzou all the credit in the world. They the ones that came out there. They won the game.
They won clean.
They won the game, man. It is what it is. It is what it is.
It is that. And then, but I would be remiss if I didn't bring them up. I have to say, JJ looked sketch at best at the beginning of the game. I think that's about the nicest way without me getting kicked off for another year again.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be expected. I mean, it's the Rose Bowl. It's a lot of pressure on the team. There's the quarterback. I mean, everybody, ultimately he played well at the back half when he needed him the most. I mean, nobody's going to go out there and play like Joe Burrow versus Clemson in the national championship game. Everybody ain't going to do that. It is. I mean, perfectly honest, I don't think he's as talented as, you know, a lot of people say he is. To be fair to him, though, like, he's not really asked to do like those things that, you know, Drake May, or even, you know, even what Kyle McCord was asked to do at Ohio State. He's really not asked to do those things. But on that last drive, when they needed to tie it up, he did it, and that's really all that counts.
That last drive is what it's going to take to beat Washington. If they go out there with the same offensive game plan that they had against Alabama, they are going to struggle to score against Washington. Washington has been underrated all year long. And for all the talk about Connor Stallions and everything else that's been going on, the self-inflicted wounds, as your co-host says.
Name's Justin Kinner.
Yeah, we all know who you are.
Yeah.
And we all know who's in your head rent free too. But anyhow.
Oh, if you stoop to that level, that's the route you're going to go. The rent-free thing, like, that's usually like the boob things that people say when they have nothing else to say. You're better than that. I know your trash talk's way better than the rent-free thing. You must be. I mean, you must be exhausted having to defend the honor of your cheating team on social media, my guy.
I'm just warming up. I have till November to just get it all out. I've been
There's nothing to get out.
October 25th.
The thing is, at the end of the day, we've all said the same thing, that your team's really good. Like, I don't know, like, what, I mean, this whole, like, I told you so thing, you know, what?
You would say it, and then you would come on here, and everything out of your mouth, left, right, and underneath the microphone, was bashing the program, left out, and the team.
The team that had a coach suspended twice, multiple coaches fired, investigations galore. I mean, I don't think that's like, Buckeye fan hating. I think that's just common sense.
Which one is your true feeling? Like,
both can be true. They are a very good team, but they're also a cheating program. I don't know. I would think that's the easy takeaway there. It's not even like a
cheating program that's in the national championship. Say it with respect.
Cheating team that's in the national championship. You could put your big old chest out there, dude. It don't bother me. Does the
Astros still hang the banner?
They do. And do people respect them? They don't. Okay. They are the ass end of a lot of jokes.
They do.
I got a question for you, Shaw.
I never said that they didn't.
I got a question.
Go ahead, Kev.
So since, you know what I'm saying, the university is embracing this Michigan football team for, you know, the cheating scandal.
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When is the Fab Five going to get their banners back up?
Are you asking me to answer for the university? You asking me to answer for me?
Both.
Because those are two different answers. The university, and it makes me sick to say this, probably never. And it sickens me to say it. It absolutely sickens me. If it was me, they'd have never came down.
Well, yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
No. What were they going to do? What was the NCAA going to do? Why would you take them down? What were they going to do?
So you're saying they learned from their mistakes? Are you saying that the university learned from their mistakes the last time? Like, hey, we're not going to scold our team for doing stuff that's against the rules. We're just going to support it no matter what. So now
they did the exact same thing in the football season. They did the exact same thing.
I didn't see any free Weber shirts or anything like that back in the day.
This is the part of it that nobody understands. They did the exact same thing that they did to the Fab Five. They busted out their chest. They acted real big and bad. And then when push came to shove, they folded on the Fab Five and let the NCAA roll right on top of them. Come fast forward to this year with the Connor Stallion stuff. The university acted big and bad. They puffed out their chest and wanted me versus everybody and yada blah blah bet and all the other stuff. And then when push came to shove, when it actually came to actually do something for once to actually protect the university and protect the program, what did they do again? They folded over, played the little girl, and took it.
So they're not going to get the banners back.
They got everybody riled up. They got everybody all excited just to spit on the Michigan fans once again. I've told you guys for 3 to 4 years on here.
So you're saying that Michigan held them accountable? You actually think that the school punished their, like, what?
Did they go to the court case or not?
Like, so you think that the school is just appalled at the cheating stuff and like they what?
I don't think they're appalled. I think they rolled over to try to get this to go away, like Michigan always does. And they didn't do what the teams in the South do and said, "You want to come at me? Come at me." What are you going to do about it? Shall I bring up LSU? Shall I bring up Tennessee? Shall I bring up all these other programs?
Man, that
have
sounded
been
awfully
prominent?
close. I'm just saying that was a Freudian slip. I mean, I'm just saying you that sounded very close to a word that could have got you popped off. I'm just saying, throwing that out there.
Tennessee. I don't know. I really don't know what word that would have been, but I'm okay. But I'm as fed up with the program as you are fed up with me and every other Michigan fan, Justin.
Why are you fed up with them? They didn't do anything. Wait and see, remember?
No, but they did.
No, you said they didn't.
Problem.
That's what. Hey, we'll save the argument for another day. The clock's ticking against us, Shaw.
I got you. All right, man. Glad to be back. See you guys. Talk to you guys later.
Peace.
Kenner and Cab, 1410 ESPN Radio. Yeah, I don't think he realized it just sounded like he said something. But nonetheless. Ron Howard says, will we see Tom Brady embracing this team on Monday? He hasn't made a comment about the cheating. Ron, he's been tweeting out about the team. He's been supporting them and all this stuff. And I mean, look, it's a lot. Of course he is. Jake Whiting, hey, that's the best quarterback in Michigan history, David Shaw. Harbaugh said so. Look, the one thing I'll give Harbaugh is this.
Brian Greasy's the best quarterback in Michigan history. Let's be clear. Come on, let's not be silly here. I mean, I know Tom Brady's the greatest NFL quarterback of all time, but Brian Greasy is, come on, 10 times better.
And to Harbaugh's credit, he said the best, and not credit because he's wrong, but he also said the best quarterback in college football history, which was laughable. But then the comments underneath going along the lines of, oh, well, he has quite a few Super Bowl rings before he can get to Tom Brady. I'm like, no. College. Pay attention. That's all. But not one of the best.
I'm Brian Greasy. I'm like, excuse me?
I mean,
Brian Greasy was a dog in college. I mean, obviously I hate his guts because he's a Michigan dude, but he was next level.
When he said in college football, too, I'm like, I would take Baker Mayfield over JJ. I would take JT Barrett over JJ. I would take pretty much every quarterback outside of Kyle McCord over the last decade, even though Kyle McCord's numbers were better than JJ's this year. Let's just throw that out there outside of completion percentage. But Kyle McCord actually was throwing downfield to receivers at least, and not just, little check downs here and there. Just throwing that out there. However,
the left-handed dude from Washington is pretty good, too.
I will give – I'll give Harbaugh has his guys back no matter what, but – he should, because they all have his. And like I said, I just thought that program was awfully loyal to a guy that they all knew was going to bail on them when the season ended. And he is. He's going to be the Chargers' next coach.
You know why? Because all of them going to the NFL, too. You think some dudes is going to stick around for next year? Whatever Coach Moore is going to have to deal with, he's going to have to deal with it without Blake Corum, without Edwards, without JJ, without Wilson. All those dudes. Peace.
It's just messed up, though, because this is why that Moore looked so ridiculous that day, crying and all that stuff. Because, okay, you're doing this for him.
You know what? He might be going somewhere else too. They might all be like, look, we win this championship, we all go our separate ways. Kind of like all those movies where they rob a bank and they always like, all right, this is our last hit. We make this deal, we go out and we all go our separate ways, like Ocean's 11 or something like that. Maybe that's the deal they got all made behind the scenes.
And if that's the case, that would make sense, because I just think it's so messed up of Harbaugh, after everything that's happened under his watch, to bail for the NFL, never face any repercussions for anything. Now, you could say, the suspension and all that. If the peak of the punishment was missing the game against Ohio State, I'm sorry. That's not really – that was a big deal, but it wasn't a big deal. And by the way, mainly because all the coaching that needed to be done was done during the week.
Right.
It was one thing if he wouldn't be allowed. When Urban Meyer was suspended for that 3-week stretch, he wasn't allowed at practices. He wasn't allowed near the team at all. That was Ryan Day and the staff having to rally together to get stuff put together, right? Harbaugh was at every practice. The only thing he wasn't allowed to do was travel to, the game, as far as that's concerned, or at least head to the stadium, I should say. Not really travel, but anyways. Shaw says JJ is the best quarterback in program history.
All right.
The program has won a lot with him there, but I don't think they were winning before he took over, right? That's kind of the thing.
I'd say Denard Robinson over him.
Yeah. Imagine what Denard Robinson would do with his group. He would add that extra. They're already a dominant run team, but imagine that extra element too. And plus he could throw the football as well. So yeah, but anyways, he'll go down as the winningest. As the winningest quarterback there. No doubt about it. All right. We'll step away for a few moments. It's the Kenner and Kev show right here on 1410. He said Denard couldn't throw.
Okay. Okay.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.